saw a massive crash here over the last couple hours, again to the downside, and everybody was wondering, including myself, how could this happen, because there were not a lot of signs why we should actually drop lower. But I will show you exactly the reason that has caused this drop, and if we need to be worried right now for further downside. I will show you exactly what it means for us and the exact levels that I'm watching right now, so don't miss out on that, and let's go, guys. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in here on this Friday. So the DXY was dropping here over the course of today to the downside as expected. I mentioned that yesterday, that I would expect that we continue to move it to the downside. We see here right now a small bounce back to the upside. So the bounce is coming from the same reason why Bitcoin was dropping to the downside, because Bitcoin is also now, right now, a little bit bouncing back to the upside. So, but what caused this massive move in the traditional market, because this was not limited only to Bitcoin, this was also in traditional market, and what led to spill that over into crypto. So first of all, I want to show you if we are actually in trouble on the macro time frame for Bitcoin. So, and for that, we're looking at the weekly chart and at the EMA ribbon. So currently, we see somewhat of a strong bounce from the mid-range of the EMA ribbon, which is a bounce area. If we would not hold this area until Sunday and we drop below here $3,700, then Bitcoin would be in trouble, risking dropping in the short term potentially below $100,000. But around $100,000, I expect that major buys will flood in, because everybody thinks, oh, $100,000 once again. If it bounces from there, I'm gonna miss it. So there will be a big fight between bears and bulls to hold that level. If bulls lose that level, then we would drop all the way to the bottom of the EMA ribbon, potentially get a fake out below that before we turn around and go back to the upside. So if this level, for whatever reason, would also not hold, so I just want to give you the worst case scenario here. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but this is the worst case scenario. We could drop all the way down to here, the golden ratio, $89,000, $86,300 approximately. And here, if we would close all the way down here, even if it's just a daily candle, we have to think about that Bitcoin might go into a massive reconsolidation phase here over a couple of weeks, maybe potentially 2 months, before we would come back here and continue this upwards move. For now, we are not there yet. We are still in the stage where we could get saved if we close around current levels, the weekly chart. So now, here on this weekly chart with the upward sloping trend line, upward sloping channel, also here, we are clinging on, or trying to clinch on to that support level here of $106,044. We're just $200 away from that, so not that far actually. And there is a huge possibility that we actually closing above that level here by Sunday. I'm gonna show you here just in a minute why we actually went to the downside and why that was not crypto related. So stick around here. So then, how much liquidations did we have in the last 24 hours? Here, $1.23 billion got liquidated in the last 24 hours, which is insane. And basically, since we started that drop, 711 million, because we had like a waterfall drop to the downside. So we should rather count that. So, but this is crazy here, 533 million alone in longs, because again, we were looking good to go potentially higher from here, and then it was, now people will say that was a bull trap, but they don't understand the reason why we were actually dropping. So, and the reason why we dropped to the downside is this here. US regional banks, bank stocks fall amid Wall Street concern over credit markets. Science and Western Alliance revealed problem with bad loans as scrutiny of regional banks' lending practices increases. US regional banking stocks fell sharply on Thursday after 2 banks disclosed issues with bad and fraudulent loans, amplifying concerns on Wall Street around the state of credit markets. Sorry, guys. Zions Bancorp announced it had a $50 million charge-off over 2 bad loans from its subsidiary, California Bank and Trust in San Diego. Western Alliance also said it was dealing with a fraudulent borrower. Zions stock was down over 11% by Thursday afternoon, while Western Alliance was down over 10%. Shares of Jefferies Financial Group were down 9% that day. So then, this morning, global market, so that was yesterday, basically early morning, my time, and this was earlier today. Global markets fall and gold hits record high amid jitters over US banks. Signs of credit stress sent markets in Europe and Asia down, while investors turn to safe haven assets. So, and that's something that you could see today over the last couple hours, where currency pairs like the euro, the yen, the pound, everything. If I'm not, everything was falling. Everything was falling. The dollar was falling. Every currency pair was falling because they were thinking, okay, there's another credit crisis. There could be another bubble that gets now a domino effect and will send markets, the traditional markets, into turmoil. And you see that here also in the article. Global stock markets fell sharply and gold hit a record high after 2 US regional banks said they had been exposed to millions of dollars of bad loans and alleged fraud. So, and then people say crypto is a scam. You know, so it's funny. There's more scam going on still in the banking system than in crypto, but people call crypto a scam. So now, here, when we're looking now on the daily chart for Bitcoin, we are not looking that bad. So of course we had here now 4 days of downwards movement, but we got stopped by the 0.786 level here at $104,000 approximately, and we are trying to close, like I just mentioned on the weekly chart, above $106,044. So if Bitcoin can manage to close above that level, we are going at least back to like $110,000 here. That is now resistance. Let me actually make here a proper level into that. So here, okay, 109,600. So that would be the next resistance level where Bitcoin would go up to if we manage to close above $106,000 here by today. So if we close below that level, then we have a new trading range, and that trading range will be then from $104,000 to $106,000 until Bitcoin takes a directional move to either side. But I can tell you already, as long as gold keeps rallying to the upside, expect Bitcoin not to do well. In the last couple of months, and even the last over a year now, when gold went to the upside massively, something was happening in traditional markets, or a war was breaking out. A lot of things were creating turmoil in traditional markets, and that spilled always over into crypto and also into Bitcoin. So something that you should definitely pay attention to. So here on the 30 minutes chart, I just want to point out that I warned you guys yesterday about that scenario. I said if we are not holding this 4-hourly low, we're gonna break that range and we'll go lower. So now here to the level that we dropped to $103,450 looks to me like that we are just creating a deviation down here. And I mentioned that also. You can go back and watch yesterday's video. I said if we break below that, expect a deviation, and then we continue to come back into that range and and move here into higher levels. So for that to be happening again, the same level that I just mentioned, $109,600, would be the level that we need to reclaim, so that comes into fruition and get continuation here into higher levels. If we are failing to do that and we just move up here in a V-shape recovery form and get rejected from there, we're gonna go one more time to the downside. On the here on the daily chart, also here, just want to show you that quickly. We are basically trying to close within the golden ratio here. And also here, the 0.786 level was the level that has held, and we are currently bouncing from. So in a really, really bullish scenario here, for continuation to the upside would be a close above $106,800 approximately. So above the golden ratio here on the daily chart. So we have already lost this upward sloping trend here, that multi-month uptrend, so which is already inherently a bearish warning sign. So this needs to be reclaimed next week. If we're not reclaiming that next week, it is becoming a problem. So just that you know. Here on the 4-hourly chart, again, the low that we put in is not the worst thing that has happened here so far. It is considered still a higher low compared to the previous low. And I want also here to show you quickly that we basically went a little bit lower than the 50% mark of that candle here. So you see here 50%, 0.5 is at $106,900 approximately. So here in a really, really bullish outcome, that would be the level that I want to see where we are closing today. If we are slightly below that, above that golden ratio that I have just shown you to you guys, absolutely fine if we close above that. You know, so there's no issue with that whatsoever. Yeah, we need to close in that range. I see here one of the streams looks like that. Let me see here what's happening here, because it doesn't look good. Let me see here. Okay, no, here we are fine. It's just the other software. It's lagging a little bit. I was already like, whoa, that is not good if that would be actually happening. So now, on the MDX Algo Scalp Gradients, also here you see that we're currently in a massive buy cluster down here between $105,100 and $106,300 approximately. Same thing, as long as we are holding this level, we're going to bounce from here back to the upside. But at the same time, what I would like to see here on the scalp gradients is that we put in either a take profit signal for that short signal that we got up here, or a dot plot. One of these things I would like to see here. That doji that we are putting in right now is already a bullish sign, because we are closing this here in 6 minutes, and I don't believe that we are flipping this back into a red candle right now. You know, so almost impossible in 6 minutes that this is going to happen. So of course we have some volatility around that, but other than that we should be fine. So I also want to show you that I put my money where my mouth is, because I had mentioned that to you guys that I'm going to do that. So we came, so let me show you first. So we came down here to my entry of $105,640. So what did I do? Because I am still a degenerate, you know, so I'm not going to deny that. I went and put a $600,000 trade in Bitcoin that's currently down like 1.8%. So it was earlier up already 3K when we massively moved it to the upside to almost $1,700. So slightly in a loss, but the trade is running, and I think that that trade is going to print here, most likely by today. You know, so, and I have taken that trade here on Weex, and I'm recording this also for something else on the phone, so that just that you see, because when you see later the final video that I make here with that screen recording on the phone, you see how I actually open that trade, and keep recording until I actually close it. You know, so just for reference, why you see that here. So now, in that fashion, guys, I also sent another trade to my private trading group. If you want to be part of here, you can see that it's a Solana trade. I'm going to talk about Solana here in a minute, but you can see here I sent this trade 30 minutes ago. So 30 minutes ago. So if you are not in that group, you missed already 30 minutes where you could have been ahead of everybody else that is watching now. So how you can enter that trading group is really simple. You go to the description of the video. You get here a $200 Ethereum airdrop position already for free for signing up here, and a $100 coupon if you bind your phone and email address on Weex, guys. You know, so Weex is non-KYC, really important, and then you get also deposit bonuses. So you get already around $400 just for signing up there and downloading the app, and then then depending on how much you are depositing, you get even bigger bonuses. So take advantage of that. You can see here I have that massive trade on Weex running right now, yeah, just use that platform. It's amazing. There's a link in the description below for that. Now on the liquidation levels, you see here below us is no real liquidity anymore that can be taken out, and I'm going to show you that also in the liquidation heat map here in a moment, that there is basically nothing anymore that we can take to the downside, you know, so even on the higher time frames. So again, the directional move here, even if it would lead to a fake out, is right now to the upside. So here at least to $111,500. If we deviate from that back to the downside, okay, fine, but we should at least get that move into this level here. And if we are not getting this, here in the next 7 to 8 days, let it be 5 to 8 days is the time frame that I put onto that. it will be just a further confirmation of the weakness that we're seeing right now in Bitcoin since we got rejected from the 200 moving average here on the 4-hourly chart at the beginning of the week on Monday. So that would be really, really, really bad if we are not even reaching that level. On the liquidation heat map, here you can see exactly what I just meant. So here's no liquidity anymore below us. Look, there's nothing. So where should the money come from to drive the price lower? Unless and even here on the way down, there was not much to take. So that's how I knew something was up that is not crypto related, pushing the price down. That's why I went and looked outside the crypto bubble to see what's actually happening. So because market makers move the market where liquidity is, and liquidity was not there. So there was no liquidity to be taken out here. Besides $107,000, but also only a little bit. That there was not insane levels of liquidity. The big levels of liquidity are here still above us, and you see that when I go here now into a lower time frame like the weekly. Look at the concentration at $13,750. So here is here's $300 million worth of shorts positions. So this will definitely be taken out here. At some point, and most likely it will coincide when most of the people think that we are capitulating right now and that this bull run is over. So, and when everybody thinks the bull run is over, that's usually when we turn around. So, and I think we're really, really close. I know I have said this before, that we are close to it, but it doesn't change the fact. My timing might be wrong, but I'm not wrong about that we will go back up here in the short term. So in the short term, we will come up here and take that level out. There's no doubt in my mind that this is going to happen here before the end of the year. So that is basically another 6-7 weeks. So we will come up here and take that definitely out. And I'm gonna be here a little bit more bullish. I reckon we will even be above $120,000 before the end of the year again. So now, when we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance is, of course, going into the upside, no surprise, but we are still below 60%, which is, again, for me, a good sign that the dominance is not going absolutely crazy, and people still have a little bit trust in altcoins right now. But I must also say there were some altcoins that they were not dropping as hard as other altcoins. But I also will not neglect the fact that there are altcoins that are down like 11% or even more. Okay, they recovered partially, but here Esther 15%, CoreAI 22%, but not surprising. This coin is absolutely insane volatile. Bell 10%, but I would say these three coins are outliers, and everything else is not more down here than like 6%, and the majority is actually 4% down right now from today's daily opening. So altcoins were acting a little bit more resilient than Bitcoin, which is a good sign for us. So, and you see here also on total free market cap, we got a bounce now. We went to $942 billion. We are now at $970 billion for today. If we just close in that range here, in that support zone, that's absolutely fine. But from here, I want to see then in the next coming days a proper move out of that range into higher levels. So if you want to trade on Bybit, guys, then and trade altcoins, then yeah, get your bonus up to $30,000. I have currently also a Solana trade running there. I just want to show it to you. Almost $1,000 in profit. That was quick. That was quick, guys. So I just want to show you the profit actually, because I don't want to show you my entry. Because if you want the entry, you have to go into the group. So let me do this like this. Whoop. Oh, so there you see. There you can. So there, see $980 in profit right now, and it's just a 2x. I'm just trading 2x on this, but everybody in that group should be up. So massively up right now on that trade. So again, if you want to trade this with us together or catch the next one, you know what to do. Altcoins usually happening on Bybit for me, $30,000 worth of bonuses, plus that you get here also the Bybit card, 10% cashback. I gonna smash that card tonight like crazy because I go partying with my girlfriend once she is coming back later tonight. So I will enjoy to get 10% back on the table that I'm gonna get in that club where we are later going. So yeah, there's a link in the description for that. Now, the RSI heat map for altcoins, of course, has cooled down a little bit more. So yeah, pick your poison here. A lot of coins are absolutely down. Ethereum got also a bounce here from the downward sloping trend line at around $3,662. I tried longing this earlier and I lost like $20 on it. No, sorry, I want to be honest. It was $90. $90 is what I lost on that, on the stop loss that I took. So here what you want to see is a close above $3,821. We are like $40 away from that. Closed the daily above that, and I would take a trade from there. So, but I would then move this here accordingly. And I would potentially not trade this into $5,000 here. I would take rather a short-term trade here of like 7% into $4,100. So that would be the trade setup with a tighter stop loss here at $3,739. So if we're reaching that level. So that is the short-term trade setup that you can take here on Ethereum. So when you're looking on the higher time frame on the 3-day chart, again with your Wyckoff reaccumulation pattern, we're not looking that bad. We are still here in that range of that SOS stage with that spring to the upside. As long as we are holding that, Ethereum is doing fine. You know, so but we need to hold this. If we drop below that and we drop below $3,500, Ethereum is in trouble. But until then, we are fine. Now Solana, you see here Solana is moving back to the upside. So we have also here put in basically a small doji candle all the way down to $174. I will be now telling you where I took the trade because we moved already up 6%, you know, so, and yeah, so I took the trade from $176 personally when I saw that. Yeah, kind of like here. So you see, I waited that we were here back in that range before I took this trade, and since then I'm only up, you know. So if I take the money now, I get over $1,000. So here, just that you see that, whoop, yeah, $1,000 up currently on that trade. And I opened that trade a couple minutes just before I started the stream. Just a couple minutes before. Maybe 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes before I started the stream. So you can see here we are going now to the upside. I'm not waiting to hit here on that trade the target of $211 because that could be just a short-term bounce here before we continue to go lower. And that's why I'm going to take profits at around, on that trade, $192. So that's my personal target on that trade. I might set just a stop loss at 190 and let it ride. But I gonna decide this later. It also depends if I'm already in the club or not. Yeah. So I hope that helped you guys a little bit to understand what's happening in the market right now. Again, it was not crypto driven that we went to the downside. It was from traditional markets. And just before I go, I want to mention here, Solana overall on the 4-hourly chart is looking good. Look at the stochastic pointing to the upside, MACD turning around, RSI going a little bit sideways because we're running here into resistance. But if we get a small push higher from Bitcoin, then Solana will be tagging along and also move here into higher prices here, and most likely will hit my target. Guys, I have to run. I have a lot of other things to do. I saw already that my team messaged me about certain things that I need to take care of. But thank you so much for tuning in here. Don't forget, smash up the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I see you hopefully not with losses, but with a lot of more money tomorrow.